Hi, this is Dr. Greg Lehman, and I'd like to welcome you back to my weekly edition of Sunday Simmerings. Today, I'm privileged to be with Dr. Michael and Kathy Campion, who have been friends of mine for a long time, and with whom I've had a chance to walk side by side as they built their business, which is a psychology consulting firm back in Illinois, and watch them transition that to their son's leadership and watch him then continue the trajectory of growth. And in light of what we've been talking about capacity building as a leader, I just wanted to take advantage of the fact that they're here with me and get their thoughts about why that worked so well at Campion Barron Associates. So Kathy, as the nurturer of the team, as well as having specific responsibilities, just what are your thoughts about how this worked and why it's been so successful?
Well, I think, of course, in our situation, I was mom, but generally speaking, being a mediator between a younger generation, older generation, between a pioneer and a settler, and because those are huge differences, really, and the point of view of the younger person, the next generation person, can be pretty focused and a bit arrogant, and not really willing to take from the boss, the pioneer. And the pioneer is not really wanting to do much innovation because he made it and it's his baby, and of course it'll go on for quite a while, maybe forever, And so there's these emotional, relational things that are more exaggerated, say, in a family situation, because then you throw in the parent-child issues and all the old baggage from that relationship. But if that's not there, then you still have these generational things.
Well, Kathy, one thing I find really interesting about that is that even though in many small companies you may not have a title of HR director, but this need for a pioneer leader to be able to successfully build up a settler who can then run the business and grow it, and the built-in potential conflicts there really need somebody who has savvy emotional intelligence and an intermediary role to make that not become a block that then people fight with each other instead of being open to one building the capacity of the next. So I found that very interesting. Mike, what would you add to the conversation?
Well, my role in the practice business was to be the creative force, to have the vision and to carry that through, plus be able to hire the right team and manage that team and direct them in a way that could be most productive. So when we look to our son, Tom, he would have to have both those roles because it wasn't a husband, wife, a mother, father situation. So we had to find people to do that they could count on to make those kinds of decisions. He still could be the one who had the vision, but he had to farm out more of the other things that I did. To find that in one person is unique, and to not be blindsided by the fact he is your son, you tend to overlook some of the things he may want to work on. To be honest with him without being a parent, because we've switched our roles now. He's a colleague. I happen to be his father. I'm not a parent. I'm a colleague of his. I'm the guy that had the business and the person that's giving it to him because he deserves it. He's got the skill set to do it.
So Mike, given the special case of it being your own son, adding some dimensions as well, but I think maybe if you could expound a little bit on what is it like as the person who's always been the expert and the creator to make room for somebody and build up in somebody else to a place where you're confident that they not only can not drop the ball, but maybe carry it further than you did, and a transition, a younger person who wasn't maybe not a son before, but was a employee kind of under you, and now need to be elevated to that colleague level?
Well, I was fortunate that to struggle with that kind of a situation in terms of the people I hired. I always hired people that could fill in a gap that I needed filled in. And I relied on that person to do it. Hire the right person, put them in the right position, then let them do their thing. And I think with my son, because he had been with me for all of his life, and he had come with experience, he had a master's degree in psychology already. He knew what it meant to be in that area. He'd worked outside of the practice also. And so my biggest concern was that he, as a person with a healthy ego, did not want people to look at him and say, well, look what your dad did for you. He gave you the golden key. I wanted him to feel like I am adding value to this, and that I have something I'm offering to at this time in the practice, and he did. And I think that was communicated.
Right. So what I'm hearing is both in your hiring practice and in the way you dealt with specifically with Tom, it really came back to you were willing not to be egocentric in who you put on the team. You were looking for people who could be better than you in certain ways, and ultimately in the leadership role, which is I think, that's a mindset that you would have to have in order to be a capacity builder, rather than I'm so special kind of person that it needs to be me.
And let's be real, Tom brought the technology. I kind of got us in the right direction in terms of the technology in our business. He was able to step in at that point, well-versed, able to move on and take it to the next level. So actually, it was important that he took over, because I would eventually run the business down because I was not able to keep up to technology.
Well, any last thoughts that either of you want to share as we wrap up today? Thank you for your input.
Oh, I would just say that it isn't without serious bumps in the road. Both sides have a lot of ego, and you have to be very wise and even prayerful as you get your ego knocked around by a younger person, because you see down the road this is going to be right, but there could be some sore spots and tough areas.
I had to remind myself that I'm the adult in the room, so to speak, and it's my job to encourage him, not his job to please me.
Well, thank you both very much for your friendship and your wisdom and the inspiration that your business has been. And I hope others will find a way to draw some gems from this conversation that they can use.